Welcome, everyone. If you're watching this, lucky you. This is the first time we're doing this live reveal for Edge Finder, stock pick, and currency pick. I'm going to give you a trade that has an 85.3% chance of winning. Tomorrow, probably tomorrow, it'll win, but it might take a couple of days. Anyway, I'm just going to jump right to it, and then I'll explain what these are. This is something I'm going to be doing a couple of times each week going forward. So you're here for the first one, and let me share my computer screen with you, and look at this chart. This is AMD. If in fact tomorrow, after the market opens, AMD trades anywhere below $250.67. That's the entry point, anywhere below that price. Now, the trade setup is what I have depicted here. You're going to put a stop loss of $7.77. It just worked out that way. I don't know why. It doesn't usually do that, but $7.77. Lucky trade, right? And you're going to put a profit target of $2.40. So if you're familiar with this, it's a bracket order, one cancels other order, right? You buy this thing at any price lower than 250.67, and relative to where you actually get in, go $7 down for your stop, $2.40 for your target. Now, here's the thing about this trade. Because it's a big stop loss and a small profit target, well, naturally, it's going to have a better chance of winning than losing, right? In fact, you can calculate what the odds are. The odds of winning this trade, if all you had was random price action, are still 76% chance. You have a 76% chance of winning that trade. The reason I'm revealing this right now is that Edge Finder identified this trade that historically, if you take it, you have an 85% chance of winning the trade. 85% chance of winning. That's a 9% edge over and above randomness, over and above just a regular old setup. Now, I got to tell you, I've been working in the industry of trading for years, for a couple of decades actually, and I have found that 3 to 5% edges are very doable. You can find those. You can find them just in regular technical indicators. But a 9% edge, when that trade comes along, it's a trade you ought to be really interested in. You don't know for sure that it's going to win. It's not a 100% chance of winning. It's an 85% chance of winning. That's still pretty good. The thing is that it's 9% more than random. If you did 10, 20, 30 of these trades, that little bit of edge is going to add up. I'll have to tell you a story sometime about how much that matters. But for now, there's the trade. If in fact you get in right at 250.67, your stop loss is 242.90, your profit target is 253.07. But the way this trade works is that it's relative to wherever you get in. So let's suppose the AMD opens higher, much higher than 250. Maybe it opens at 255 tomorrow. Well, then we miss the trade. We don't touch it. But what if it opens lower? What if it opens, like 247? Great. Then I just move that range down and say, put me in at 247. I'll have my stop loss $7.77 lower, and I'll have my profit target $2.40 higher. And that prediction will still hold. 9% edge for this trade, wherever you get in, so long as it's below that starting point of 250.67. All right, here's the trade in the currency markets. These trades were just printed within the hour. These trades are less than 60 minutes old. These trade recommendations come out once every 24 hours. So if you're here watching this live, lucky you, you're here right on time. Now, in the stock market, you gotta do a little bit of waiting because it's, the market's not going to open for another, what are we looking at? About 12 hours. But in the currency market, These trades are live right now as we speak. Now, Edgefinder gave us a trade that randomness says we're going to have a 74% chance of winning. I find it a very interesting trade. Now, this is just the hourly chart, so you can actually see this thing moving up and down. This is the 1 hour chart. And this is on the US dollar Japanese yen currency pair. And because of the setup, we're basically risking 3 times as much as we would normally, as the target we're trying to get to. Let's see if I can squish this down and get some numbers visible for you. There we are. This should do the trick. All right, let me adjust my chart a little bit, and we'll get to see. If you can read this, sorry for the eye test, but basically what we've got is 182 pips higher is your stop, 69 pips lower is your target, right? That's almost a 3-to-1 ratio. Because it's a 3-to-1, randomness says you're going to win this thing 75% of the time. That's just natural. But Edgefinder says in this case, you're going to win this thing 85% of the time. Under the conditions that exist right now, Edgefinder has determined that historically, this trade will win with a 10% edge. Pretty cool, huh? So if you get in with this trade here, I mean, you could do it right now. That's where the price is. You can move the range to wherever you get in. As long as you're above 151, and we're way above that, you can make this trade. In fact, you can make this trade multiple times all through the next 24 hours. Just keep hitting this ratio. Risk 182 pips to make 69 pips. Every opportunity you get, as long as the USD JPY stays above 158. Think about that. You could make this trade 10 times in the next 24 hours. Edgefinder predicts that you'll probably win 8 or 9 out of those 10 possibilities. That's a pretty bold prediction in my book, but I think you understand how useful that could be, right? For the next 24 hours, you have almost a 10% edge. Well, yeah, a 10% edge on trades that look like this. You're going short and you're risking 3 to make 1 on the USD JPY currency pair. Now, those are the 2 trades. There's more. If you were interested in more trades, you'd have to subscribe to Edgefinder to know what the other trades were that are available in the next 24 hours. But I'm giving those 2 away to you for free to help you understand and learn about Edgefinder. Most people don't know. It's a project that I and my good friend, programmer genius friend, have collaborated on for the past 2 years, and we've had amazing results. To help introduce you to this product, I want to let you know the website is myedgefinder.com, and I want to show you a demo video that just introduces you to the whole topic. And then I'm going to give you
super smart assistant, and you could send them off to search through billions of trading strategies to find the ones that actually work for the stocks you care about. And what if the assistant never complained, but just brought you robust trading solutions you could use within minutes of asking for them? That is exactly what Edgefinder does. See, here's the problem. There are millions of possible ways to trade any stock. Different entry points, different exit strategies, different timing rules. You could spend years testing strategies one by one and never find a profitable approach. Most traders give up before they ever do. However, Edgefinder can do it for you in minutes. Here's how it works. Edgefinder uses a process of machine learning known as genetic algorithms. Think of it like evolution, but for trading strategies. You rapidly sort through trading strategies by comparing one solution against 100 others in each generation. But all of that is in the background. Here's how simple it is to use. Step 1. You pick a stock, ETF, crypto, or Forex pair you want to trade. Step 2. You select the Evolve button and Edgefinder gets to work. It searches through billions of possible trading rules using up to 25 years of historical data to find a trading solution. Step 3. It identifies how well the solution compares to a simple buy and hold approach. Step 4. Next, it tests those strategies on fresh data to make sure they actually work. All of this happens automatically in just a few minutes, and EdgeFinder displays a solution for you to evaluate. Once you have looked over the solution, if you like it, you can activate it with one click. Then the real magic happens. 4 hours after the market closes each day, EdgeFinder will check to see if the next day would be good for a trade. If so, you'll get a trading alert. Each alert tells you exactly what to do by showing you the entry price, the order type, your stop loss exit, and your profit target. Now here's what's important to understand. EdgeFinder is a research tool that finds unique strategies built on patterns so deep that most traders couldn't recognize them by looking at a chart. The number of possible working solutions is astronomically large. EdgeFinder is the trading research assistant that can test more strategies in minutes than you could test in years. It also reviews your solutions daily and sends you timely alerts. Subscribe to myedgefinder.com.
Okay. I want to show you a little bit about EdgeFinder here. I'm going to look at my screen. I'm going to log into EdgeFinder and show you a little bit about why I think it's so special. If you look at this EdgeFinder screen, you can see I have many trade signals. They're all collected by different groupings. I have this one here, which are the Mag 7 stocks. 3 of those stocks have signals today. Each 24 hours, it gives me a new set of trading opportunities, trading ideas. And it tells me what the edge is on that trading idea. Some of these edges might be small, like only 4%. Others might be large, like 15, 20. Here's one that's even 36%. 36% edge. It's like, wow, pretty amazing. Anyway, the thing is, how do you get there? How do we find these sorts of edges, and how do we know they're even worth working? Well, let me show you some slides that kind of help depict this a little bit. I worked with my programmer friend, and he came up with the idea, hey, what if we use a machine learning tool called genetic algorithms? What are genetic algorithms? Well, you can actually look it up on YouTube, find one of those 6-minute videos to give you the rundown. But I'm going to give you the super simple explanation. Genetic algorithms are the idea that you take a set of data, any data, whatever it is. In this case, we're taking stock market and currency market data. And then we're going to have rules that could be implemented into trades on that data. And each of those rules is like a gene on a genome. If you imagine just a super long array of data, one-dimensional, and each one has, each little point of the array has, a variable amount of data that it can put in there. That's kind of what happens. We created this genome of over 200 possible trading rules that include everything you can that you've ever heard about on technical indicators on charts, candlestick patterns, seasonality, correlation, all sorts of things, right? And the combination of all those things is huge. It's the number of possible solutions are bigger than the known universe, the number of particles in the known universe. Kind of crazy, but it's a huge number. And the point is, it's so big, you couldn't even cut it in half if you spent your whole life doing it. So we need a tool that can find an efficient way of sorting through that data and get us a good solution out of it in less than my lifetime, right? Well, let me show you these slides here, if I can bring those up. Let's see. So here, if I just look at a chart and I recognize I'm going to put in some kind of detail. Now, I just got a couple of tiny lines on this chart, but really imagine you had 200 lines doing color spaghetti all over the place. It'd just be, the human eye couldn't process all that information. And we look at it in the last, up to whatever amount of data we have. It's typically 20 to 35 years if the stock's been around that long. And that's what we call in-sample data. In this sample, I'm looking at data from 2000 to 2022. And then I'm going to go with out of sample. In other words, I'm going to establish the rules in 22 years of data. And then I'm going to say from this point, January 1st, 2022, I'm going to try to use those same rules and see how it worked. That's called out of sample or forward testing. So you have back testing and forward testing, right? This system does both of this just instantaneously. Well, not quite instantaneously, but in a few minutes. Not years, not months, not weeks, not even days. Just a few minutes. It'll take all of the data, do the back testing, and then run it through forward testing and bring you the statistics and say it's a worthwhile solution. But is it the best I can do? Is it, I got the solution. Maybe it's good enough. I don't know. How could I tell? Well, this is what we did. We said, let's make it like evolution. Let's make each solution like a little critter. And we want to do this thing where we say, we got a huge grid, like 100 miles on each side, separated by 1-inch increments, right? Just huge. And we're going to run these critters all over, have them run into each other, and it's going to be survival of the fittest, a cage match of 1 against 50, and the winner emerges victorious. And we take that winner and we say, okay, go on to the next, and let's see where you end up. Well, in fact, if we find some, one of these that is able to be better than the others, then we want to recognize that performance as, if you think of the high places on our grid as good performance, right? If a critter makes it to the top, show me, tell me about that. That's what we programmed the system to do. I don't need to go through all, Googleplex versions of the possible solutions. I just need one that's a lot better than all the others, one that has a demonstrable edge over and above randomness. Well, that's what we programmed EdgeFinder to do, is to find those systems that do have a documentable edge. And so we think, okay, now we can just take these and trade on the signals, right? Because that should prove out to be a good edge, right? And the fact is, we've had very good success over the past year. I have been providing services to a couple of different places. One is Beyond the Edge from the Trusted Trading Institute. And the other is this venture trader. And here's just an example over the past quarter of what these are small cap stocks. And these are the trades that were given out and the track record from them. We were hoping that we would win, like something like 60 or high 50s, 60% of the time. But in fact, if we did that well, we would just be going with random. But in fact, we won 77% of the trades, and we had an over 20% edge. 20% in published trades. And what that meant was anybody who did this experienced a 14% gain. If you had a $10,000 portfolio, you would have been at 11,400 by the time 3 months had passed using these trades. So we think it works. Now, that's just one quarter, and that's just small caps. But I actually have a whole year's worth of track record with these kinds of trades, and I don't have it right there, but we have over 20% gain for the year in one of our model portfolios. We have 4 different model portfolios. One of them has 20% gain. That's the low one. The high one has 44% gain over the past year. And these are about 60 trades over the course of a year. So when I'm giving you these trade ideas, AMD and JPY, you might wonder, well, okay, cool. You think these are going to win, but what kind of track record do they have? I'm telling you, it's a good track record. This is stuff that, had you been following our subscription services diligently, that you could have had that kind of performance with, according to the model portfolio. And we're risking 1% on each trade in the case of the large cap portfolios, and 2% in the small cap portfolios. And with just that much risk, we're able to achieve these kinds of gains. So that's a little bit about Edge Finder. If you're interested, you should check it out at myedgefinder.com and see about signing up and subscribing. But if you're not quite convinced, just look for more of these videos. I'm going to be trying to do these every Tuesday and Thursday going forward. And would love to see your comments on whether or not you think this is useful information. I hope you find it good and useful. I hope you make the trade and tell us about it. Yeah, I took the trade and I won. And here's to your good trading. Thank you.